Let's make a duck. First, we're going to use the Michaels Loops and Threads circular knitting machine. Go ahead and cast on with the dark green color. The dark green color is what you're going to use for the duck's head. And then you're going to need a little bit of white, and then you're going to need brown. I'm using a lightly worsted weight yarn for this machine. Otherwise, a thicker yarn is not going to work very well on the circular knitting machine by Michaels Loops and Threads. Go ahead and knit 17 rows of the dark green. Again, the Loops and Threads does not have a counter, so you're going to have to count out loud in your head or some other way. And again, this machine does not have clamps. That's why I'm holding it down with my finger. So it's not very easy to use a counter that you can buy where you push the button. I am instead basically counting out loud in my head till I get to the number 17. Once you get to 17, you'll change color to white. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut your yarn, add in the white yarn, and go ahead and create 3 rows onto your machine. Now don't forget to tie the 2 ends together to secure it. Once you've completed 3 rows of white, cut the yarn. Go ahead and add in your brown yarn. Start cranking around. Don't forget to tie off the 2 ends together. You're going to go ahead and do 20 rows of brown. Once you're done with the 20 rows, you're going to go ahead and do another 20 rows of brown. So that means you'll do a total of 40 rows of the brown color. Alright, next you're going to cut your brown yarn and you're going to work with your dark green yarn again. Don't forget to tie the 2 colors together, and you're going to do another 17 rows of the dark green. And congratulations, you have completed knitting on your circular knitting machine. Go ahead and cut 18 inches off of the dark green yarn, and then thread a darning needle and start casting off your machine. You'll do this by grabbing your darning needle and grabbing each of those loops around and round as you go for the full 40 total pins on this circular knitting machine. If you need a more detailed description on how exactly to do this in a slow, easy to follow manner, I will leave a link in the description box below. Okay, you've completed casting off. Go ahead and remove your machine and take your project, stretch it out a little bit, and then you're going to put one side inside the other so that the 2 green ends are matching with each other. Use your darning needle as well, because you're going to go ahead and tighten that end when you bring it on the inside of your project. You'll tighten this end here, cinch it up, use your darning needle to go ahead and thread again a few more times around to ensure that it's secured, and then you'll knot it a couple of times before you start closing the other end of the tube. If you'd like a slower, more deliberate description, step-by-step for beginners on how to close a tube from a circular knitting machine, I will leave a link in the description box below. But for quickness sake, go ahead and find the yarn end. This is the cast on side of your tube, so it's a little sometimes hard to find that yarn end. Go ahead and find it as I am doing here, pull it tight, and get it tight enough. Use your darning needle to go around a few times, tie it up in a knot real good, and then you'll go ahead and tie it to the same end as the one that's on the inside and secure it real well. So we've secured the 2 ends together and made a knot, and we'll go ahead and place that yarn back in through the inside to kind of hide it. Just place it in through the middle so it can't be seen. Once you have folded out your duck's body, cut about 18 inches of the brown yarn. Now find a place where you think you want to cinch up the brown part, that's the body of the duck, and insert your needle and go around so that you have basically that 18-inch yarn piece throughout the entire body And at the end, you're going to go ahead and tie it together and cinch it up after you have finished stuffing the body with polyfill or some sort of similar stuffing. Once you've gotten the 18-inch piece of yarn threaded all the way through, go ahead and see if it's going to work if you cinch it tight. And next, we're going to go ahead and fill it with polyfill or whatever kind of stuffing you have. Go ahead and fill that up tight, but not too snug because you don't want it to be too bulgy looking. Just fill it about right, what you think looks right. With a knitted amigurumi project, the yarn will show through a little more, and that's why I did a double layer instead of a single layer, so that it helps keep that polyfill inside and prevent it from being shown. When you crochet amigurumi, the stitches can be a lot tighter than a knitted amigurumi, at least with a circular knitting machine amigurumi. Once you've stuffed it full of polyfill, then go ahead and cinch it tight closed and secure the ends by going around quite a few times on different sides and edges to make sure you don't have any sort of holes or gaps. Okay, next we're going to do the wings for our little duckling. Go ahead and make your magic circle, and I did put a link in the description box below for a very slow, easy to follow tutorial on how to do the magic ring. Magic circle, do 6 single crochets into your magic circle, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and close it tight and do an increase into each of the 6 for a total of 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Third round, we will do single crochet and then increase for a total of 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now the final round, we will do 1 single crochet all around for a total of 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Go ahead and fasten off, leaving a 8 to 12 inch long tail to sew onto your duck. Okay, so this is what it should look like. Now to identify the top and bottom, this is what the bottom looks like. Notice how the stitches look, and this is the top. See how you can see more of the spiral on the top, and on the bottom it's more, I don't know, like a messy grid versus the spiral. Spiral's the top. If you have a little extra there, just trim it off. All right, so do that one more time for your second wing. All right, the next step is to go ahead and take out your wings, cut a piece of yellow yarn about, I don't know, a foot long. That'll be your beak. I'm using 3-ply instead of 4-ply. But go ahead and take your first wing, thread your needle, see where it's lifted on one side, stick your needle through the stitch that's right next to it, right beneath it. Okay, put that to the side for a minute and look for the seam right here. That's the back of your bird. Okay, maybe you don't have a seam if you went in and retied your knots, which I didn't do, but so that's the back of your bird. Your wings will be here and here. So let's just go ahead and eyeball that. We're going to use 3 stitches for each wing. The wings are going to be on the brown part, so it'll be these 3 right here. 1, 2, and 3. So go ahead and go through that first stitch with the spiral facing upward. Now go through the next stitch from back to front, and then go through the next stitch from front to back, and then go through the next 2 stitches on your bird. Okay, go through the next stitch here, back to front, and then the next one front to back. Here's your 3rd stitch on the bird, which is your final one before we go back the other way to double secure it. Okay, so you can see now you have 3 stitches attached to the bird and attached to your work. So we'll go ahead and go back the same way we came. Go through those 2 stitches again. I like to turn my bird upside down to make it easier to see these stitches on the bird. Its body, that, and then go in and out again, back through here. So we finalize it with going through here. And then we'll go ahead and go back through this one and we'll do the knots in the back. So go ahead and turn your bird around again, open up the wing flap, and we're going to go ahead and put the knot down in here into the middle stitches. So just put it through the middle and around again to create a loop. And we'll go ahead and make your first tie into that. Okay, and one more time to secure that knot. Okay, now that you've had that secured, we'll go ahead and work on the other side for the second wing. Identify the stitch that you're going through next. There. That. Again, one more time. Your 3rd and final. Just give it a little tug. Okay, it's good. All right, let's go back through. Find the stitch. And let's go back through this way so it'll make it easier to tie it. Okay. Tie it off here. A loop. And again to secure it. Okay, now it should be good. Let's check it. Yeah, it's on the brown now, okay. Go ahead and put the yellow yarn on your needle. You should be able to count back to, so I just put my fingers here and I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doot, doot. It's these 3 that it'll be going through. Once you found the middle of your duck's face, go ahead and take your darning needle and grab those 3 stitches on the green portion of your duck. That's where his face is. And start loosely threading your yellow yarn onto his face. And again, this is going to be the duck's beak. And you're going to want to do this 3 times, possibly 4, depending on the type of your yarn you're using. If you have thinner yarn, you might want to do more loops. If you have thicker yarn, maybe less loops. But you want to make sure it's loose and not too tight where it's pulling on the green portion of the duck's face, causing a little bit of distortion. So you have to have it snug, not too loose, but just snug enough. Once you have the beak at the thickness you'd like it, you're going to go ahead and tie the 2 ends gently together again so that you're not causing distortion on the green portion of the duck's face. And once you have it tied into a secure knot, I go ahead and just hide that yarn inside of the duck with my darning needle. Next, you'll want to embroider the eyes on. Use your darning needle and black yarn, embroider the eyes on where you like it. I added a white highlight embellishment to the sides. And there's your duck! Quack quack! Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you got value out of this video, please like and subscribe.